Well, welcome everybody. I am excited to be here with you today and even more excited to bring Jonathan Dupree with KDK Capital Region Realty down in the beautiful south of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. How are you, man?
I'm doing awesome, man. I appreciate you having me on. You're one of my favorite people, not just real estate people, but people.
Right on. That's good. Well, hey, I love the journey of your son and then you too. I mean, you got back in the fitness. I mean, you're not the guy that said I'm going to make a resolution and so it was a resolution. I mean, you jumped on the fitness and nutrition thing and are going strong, aren't you?
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's just I made a decision, and it took a lot of time and energy in launching our company,
Mm.
and so my focus really wasn't there. And then I said, and now I've always had this kind of up and down flow. There's not been the magic word consistency. It might be consistent for a year, and then I fall off the bandwagon. And so I said I need to make a commitment to get into shape and look better. And I want to walk out of my pool, man, and water just ripple down, and my wife to flip out. That's what I want.
That's so great. That is so good. Well, in our other connection, I don't know if I think we talked about this once on Instagram, but I admire the chickens in the backyard too because I shocked my parents. I don't know if I told you the whole story. I used to get allergy shots once a week when I was in the sixth grade, and so they dropped me off at the doctor, and I get the allergy shot. Well, there's a Better Homes and Gardens in the back of it, and we lived on 5 acres. It said chickens delivered to your doorstep. I ordered 50 baby chicks from Missouri to Tacoma, Washington. Didn't tell them.
Oh, that's awesome. You did
So,
not tell me that story.
so I was a chicken farmer. So that's why I love those Rhode Islands. I know the Rhode Island Reds, man.
Man, I call myself a chicken whisperer.
Oh, chicken. I know. I mean, they're like pets running around there.
Yeah, man, they're awesome. And
Anyways, well,
you know what happens is it gets me out of my world, and I can relax. And it's like I go in my backyard and I chop firewood and have my chickens, and you think like I live on some pasture or something, and I'm in a subdivision. So, but it just gets me in my own world.
so much for the CCNRs, huh?
That's right. That's right.
Good. Well, let's jump in. Let's start with current space and time. Tell us, about KDK. Where are you at in current space and time? Who are you? What do you do? What do you stand for? And then we'll go to a backfill that brought us to this point because it's impressive. I mean, our timing was great. You just celebrated your 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, that's right. Last week was our first year in business. Where we are right now today, we have 72 agents. We are third in market share currently in our market. The companies in front of us have been in business for 30 plus years, and they're big franchises. We're an independent. We're not affiliated with any franchise corporation. Not that's the bad thing. That's uh, we're not, and those companies are. The companies in front of us have 3 times the agent count that we've got. But what we're about. My mission in life is to master my life, my relationships, and my career to such a degree that I can't help but to empower those around me and attract those who seek the same. And so that's really what we're about as a company. We focus a lot on leadership. I think any real estate brokerage can really offer the same or similar suites of technology and websites, databases, and that kind of stuff. But what they can't do is offer the same type of leadership. And that's what KDK is all about. We're about helping people raise their leadership ability. We're big with John Maxwell. We have 6 or 7 certified John Maxwell trainers, coaches, and speakers here. We're consistently teaching his masterminds. We're all about helping an agent. Here's my thought process, John. If I can take an agent and they come in and I say, what are your goals? And when they're starting out in real estate, or even if they're a very experienced realtor who goes, I want to go from 20 million to 40 million, or I want to go from 5 million to 10 million. Well, I can help them become a better realtor. But if I help them become a better business leader, a better person, they will naturally become a better realtor. That will just trickle down into their business. So So we focus a lot on leadership. We focus a lot on what they need to do to be successful. All our new agents are partnered with we have a mentor program that we developed. We write our own courses. We're real big on education and training, and not just on the real estate side, but on the leadership side. We do classes for our agents' kids. We teach leadership classes for the teenagers that our associates have. So it's all about this life experience and helping people just become better people. Real estate is just the vehicle we choose to drive, and we can drive it as fast or slow as we want. But if I help them become a better leader, it's going to help them in their entire life. So that's really what KDK is all about.
Yeah, awesome. Well, and I think you nailed it there at the end. Is it's what you guys have really focused on it, and like you said, it's we have respect for all different brands, all different models. We can all pick or choose, and the most important model is the experience model.
Yep.
And that comes down to the leader, because you can plug any leader in any model and they can make it or break it. I mean, that's the bottom line. We've seen that happen across the board. So talk about when you talk about the experience that you're creating for your agents, with your agents, go back to the very beginning of your real estate. Let's go right before, because it's interesting. We've worked together for a long time now, and known each other, and I had the privilege of coming down there and being a part. I got to feel the environment and be a part of it, and what I'll share with all of our listeners and watchers, that everything that Jonathan is talking about is bang on. It's the experience that's taking place there. So what was in the past life before real estate? We tied these ones together. This was crazy.
Yeah. So, well, like most every other brokerage owner or company owner or realtor, I was a professional magician in Las Vegas at Caesars Palace. And I worked at Caesars Palace, and I worked at the Stratosphere. And, I've been married for 20 years. My wife and I got married, and she graduated from college that morning. We got married that evening. And then 3 days later or 4 days later, we moved to Las Vegas. And I got a job out there doing magic. I've been doing magic my whole life. And that's really what transitioned me into speaking, which transitioned me into real estate. My family, they owned a real estate company my mom owned a company for a long time. My entire family was in real estate. And I said, I'll never do real estate. And my wife and I decided to start having a family, and Vegas really wasn't the place. Vegas is great. I love Vegas. So anyone who loves Vegas and has family, I'm not saying that's bad, but for us, all our family was here, rooted here. So when we decided we were going to start having kids, it was important for us to be near family, her family, my family. And so we moved back here, and I started doing some training for real estate companies just because I naturally was in that business. My wife got licensed before I did, and she started working for my mom, and I was training agents during the day and leading classes and working with title companies, and that's what led me finally to get my license and then start working on the corporate side of real estate.
Oh, so did you go right into a leadership corporate role, or was there any sales?
I probably sold real estate for 5 or 6 years, continued to also keep doing the training events I was doing, and then I was moved into a corporate side.
Oh, okay.
With a company.
Great. And so what was that moment or series of moments where you said, you know what? I'm going to be, I was really crazy as a magician and living in Las Vegas. Now let's be real crazy and foolish and open up a real estate brokerage firm.
Yeah. So, man, there's a lot that goes into that story, but in a nutshell, I was with a great company, phenomenal company. I made a decision at the end of the day. Hey, I can go do this. I got to the point where I just simply outgrew where I was. That's really what happened. Mm-hmm. And there was no opportunity for me to get to where I wanted to be in life. And I had a clear vision of where I was going. And I walked into my office and talked with my entire leadership staff. And I said, I'm launching my own company, and I'd love for you to come with me. And my entire staff walked out with me on the same day. The entire staff, leadership team, the whole staff. And we didn't have an office. We we met at Starbucks, and that was a year ago. And that it's been amazing. I think what they have been able to accomplish. We attracted some phenomenal agents, and it's just been awesome.
Let's talk about that because you know it's interesting. You know, I'm worked with brokers for many years, broker owners, and I was in that spot myself as a regional manager for a large company. And okay, chicken or egg? Do we go for it? Do we not? And I think that so many times people are held back on that decisioning to expand. Um, you took a risk
Yep.
and left, and then a group of people, because I think this is not only for opening up a company, Jonathan, but also it gives me the backfill and even a clearer understanding of why you've had the growth, and I want other people to capture this. You had a group of people that have families, and I know support people. Everyone's got different personal situations, and I don't know, you know, I got to meet up. They were so wonderful and gracious when I was in your environment, but I don't know them personally, so this isn't a commentary on them. But listen, we've all got stuff going on in our life, and who knows where each person was. I can only imagine someone had something going on, but here you go, you leave, and they trusted in you in a decision that would have an impact on their family. So what was it in your leadership, if you were to share with other people, to have people, because I get that one. We went into spaces and said, just join us. Where am I going to sit? I don't know. Trust us. You did that. Talk about the connectivity and how you lead people to have that trust to come over and meet at Starbucks, because 9 out of 10 broker owner managers or anyone that decides they want to go on their own would never do that.
Yeah. So we thought when we started we'd have about 90 days before we ever had an agent come. So when we walked out of the office and the staff came, there were five staff members that all left and resigned and came over, and we started this company. Day one, we had 12 agents come and we were like, we don't have a place for you. You're not going to have a website. You're not going to have a database system. You're not going to have an office to work out of. You're going to be winging it from your car at Starbucks. And they said, that's okay. What I think that when you talk about leadership in that aspect, I've always worked to identify what do people want. How can we help them accomplish that? How can we help them get that? If it's an agent, if it's a staff person, you know, I'm sitting in Carolyn Hopkins' office. That's where I'm at, so I could do this video deal with you. And Carolyn, how long were you at our other company? 14 years. And you know, and I said, I'm not leaving you. I want you to come. And why? Well, I think Carolyn knows I desire for her to step into her greatness. I want her to grow as a person. I don't just see her as a position. Each staff person like that. And I think they truly believe that I have their best interest at heart, and I see in them what they're capable of becoming, and see the talent. And, you know, I think people want that. I think a great agent wants you to see them as a great agent, but at the same time, the great agent they can become. And if they can connect the dots with, this guy can get me where I want to go. This guy can help me to think bigger. This guy can help me to have a bigger vision for my business and for my life. This guy is going to help me get from point A to point B fast. And I think that is what, you know, and I could be wrong, Carolyn. You might, I don't know. You're a great example. But you know, I think Carolyn's like, you're not leaving me here. I'm not staying here. She's been there for 14 years. I was only there for 4 years, I think. But I think it's the heart. You know, I think there's a great book called Leading from the Heart, and when I'm writing a book right now called Loving to Lead, how the best leaders believe in, value, and unconditionally love people. When you love a person without any expectation, you know, they knew I would love them even if they said, we're going to stay here. they they uh, um, they knew that. So I think that was a big part. They knew that I truly cared about them. They knew they knew I believed in them. They knew that I was going to help them accomplish what they wanted to accomplish, what their goals were. As a byproduct, we naturally get where we wanted to go to as a company.
Well,
Does that make sense?
Jonathan, it's beautiful. I'm gonna say this to you, and probably be. I mean, there's so much value we'll get. We could probably do 2 or 3 interviews, and we'll check back with you in 6 months. But I really want to hit on this point because first off, what I'll share with everyone is you are very tech savvy, and what you're not tech savvy about, you're seeking. Before we started recording, we exchanged some software and app ideas of what we're doing right now, and so you are on the cutting edge with all of those things. I'm a software guy, and
Yeah.
yet we connect because we're not about the gadget. and and
Right.
and I think that where I hope that everyone can capture, it's not that you filled a room with 70 plus people. uh, you moved to third place in the market on top of it, yet you weren't transactional. You weren't, but you'll get this postcard, but you'll get this, or but you'll get that. I mean, and you play in that realm. I have people that I know, quite frankly. I mean, I know I'm not for everyone, and neither are you, but they can say, well, you're too much of the kumbaya, and that's great. Listen, I can go through a budget, perform a projection, a spreadsheet with you all day long, but the problem is that's not the human experience, and you're in the human experience business. So,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's the piece that talk about that, because what you've done is you've been non-traditional. You've moved away from gadgets, but
Sure.
yet you've got them all in your messaging. I mean, your number one thing is connecting with the human.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, technology-wise, our office in town is cutting edge, and I would tell if someone asked me, I'd say our technology is just as good, if not better, than
Absolutely.
the big dogs that are here. Um, and they try so hard to figure us out, and they call they will all day long call our agents and go, well, I'll give you the better split. I've literally had agents sit down with me,
This
and
is so
since
good.
in the last year we've only lost 3 agents,
Wow.
and 2 exited the business, and 1 took like a position at a company. But I did have an agent, 2 agents that were going to go back to another company, and because they were making them a better deal, they were going to make a transition because they were going to get a better deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I found is usually the agents who are not producing at a super high level, but then they start to experience some success, they get excited because someone calls. And I just had conversations with them, and I said, look, I'm not going to make you a deal. We're sticking to our agreement. And if you can't see me as the person that can help you get where you want, I was under the impression you want to make X amount of income, and you want this to happen and this to happen so that you can do this and this and this. And getting 10% more over here ain't going to help, because it's not going to be more. You're going to go backwards in your income. You'll have a better split, but you're going to go backwards. Everyone gets hung up in splits and paying for this and paying for that, paying for that. What we focus on is, what do you want to accomplish? If I help you accomplish that, does any of this other stuff matter? I mean, if you're on a 90 or 100% contract with this company, and you made 50 grand or 75 grand, and you're on a whatever, if you're on a 50% contract with me, or 60%, or whatever it is with me, and you earn 200 grand, what's the better split? The split doesn't matter. And they see that, and they know that. So we really don't have to have a lot of those conversations. Honestly, we have people who they get experienced agents, and they're like, tell me again, how do I get paid? Because that's like the last thing we talk about. Even when I hire people, when I hire staff positional people, we never talk about money until the very end. It's never even part of the conversation. When they bring it up, I go, you know what? I don't like to focus on the money, because when you focus on the money, then intentions shift, and we don't have good conversations. So I promise you that I'm going to be paying the person in this role in line with what this role is. and we'll discuss that at the very end of our conversation. That way it won't skew our conversation. And they say, okay, and we navigate through and move forward. So we don't get hung up on all the deals and the splits and what you offer. We really work to focus on what do you want to accomplish. Here's how we're going to help you accomplish it. And I'll be honest, and I know you said earlier, this thing isn't about you, but you were the first tool we used. I call it Real Estate Career Track because that's our site. I don't really know. I've honestly forgot what you call your
Doesn't
system.
matter. We're the Real Recruiter. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. The Real Recruiter. We use that nonstop from the sense of business plans. Every one of our agents, we do that business plan and we sit down with them and we print it out and we go through, and we have people that come in and they've got theirs printed out in a binder. Agents from other companies come in, printed it with their business plan, printed out, and we talk through that. And we're big on sharing the value that we bring in that sense and helping them become better business people. And because here's the reality, most of them don't have any kind of plan. Most agents don't have a plan. They've been transaction to transaction to transaction to transaction. And when they walk away from a meeting and they're seeing people who are going from $30,000 in income to $400,000 in income in 36 months, and they know, wow, this guy did it and this guy did it, and there's a lot of people in here who've done that, and they know we've helped them craft the plan and follow that plan and implement that plan. Now they start to connect the dots. This guy can help me do it. And that's the message that's resonating in our market. We're not a small market. We've got 500, 550 brokerages here in our market. So it's to be third in market share out of 500 something offices. And we've been in business for 12 months and we started from scratch and really have only had an actual physical office for 9 of the 12 months. I think it's pretty awesome.
Well, it is, and there's so many things that you just touched on there. The number one thing that you're demonstrating, and I want everyone to capture in this, it's not showing up and you're a highly skilled salesman and you've got all that stuff, but it's not showing up that way. It's showing up in the interview as a leader, and you're sharing with people how the process is going to go. We're going to sit down and these are really, I'm taking in the same principle. There's never been enough money to keep a relationship together, and we've got to establish that connectivity before we even go there. What a waste of time! And yet that right there, and we can say it publicly. We can, this will go out to the world, and yet 99% of people, broker owner managers that will listen to this, they'll go to that doggone money. They'll go to that split. They'll go to their postcard, their lead gen, their this, their that. Whereas you're going right to the experience with people.
That's right. That's right. And I think we do a really great job of creating this culture where people feel better about themselves when they walk out of the door from our office than when they came in. We work hard at really creating this culture, this environment. We work hard at recognizing our agents nonstop and loving on them because I was tired of seeing a revolving door, and you can't take an agent. I guess really it comes down to we deliver to them what we're promising, and we're not just getting them in the door and then forgetting about them, and they're going out the back door as quick as they came in the front door. So we work hard on this. We're very intentional. We're very intentional about our recognition. We do a quarterly recognition program. In addition to our awards banquet, we make our agents feel like rock stars. It's we have fun in this business. It's like we're a family, and I think that's really, really, really important. And as a result, it allows us to attract versus recruit. And man, we use the heck out of your system. So the confidential business assessments, we don't even meet with people until they've done that. If they haven't done it when they're sitting down with us, we do it right then. That is our appointment, because that confidential business assessment literally focuses on the agent. And so we're able to tell them, you know what, I'd love to grab some coffee with you. And John, I tell you what, we're not going to talk about your company. We're not going to talk about our company. We're going to talk about you and your business. And after that conversation, if you've got questions and things make sense, then I'll be more than happy to help you. But no matter what, wherever you are in business, this conversation is going to help you grow. And that has just been a gangbuster for us. It's been a home run thing.
Well, and there's so much here I'm hearing and want to point out is that what happens going back to that money conversation, leaders have to have that. See, what you've done is you can answer you have the answer for the most important question also that other leaders don't even have. I mean, because they'll inquire and people, hey, we need some support growing. One of the questions I'll say is, do you know why each person works for you? Yeah, they want to sell more real estate. Perfect. You need me. You're wrong. You're
Yeah.
wrong. And so they have to stay in the money transaction silo. And again, I mean, I'll reiterate, from a tech savvy perspective, progressive, you've got that, but they're stuck in a conversation that's so small that you're just not going to win. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be win lose either way. I mean, the agent may stay and you think you won, but you know what you did is you demonstrated your sales skills, which, do you want people joining you because you sold them? But here's what's pretty neat is yours is, listen, we're going to have a holistic conversation, a holistic life conversation. Actually, we're going to start with your life first, and then we'll come to the business.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. That's right on track. Because if and I can't say how many agents I've said this to, if I have to convince somebody to join us, I have to convince them to stay with us. And that is exhausting. That's not what we, it's, we want them to want to be here and love being here. And also feel like as a result of them being here, it's allowing them to play on a bigger playing field.
Well, and here's another part that stands out to me too, Jonathan, is that and again, it's the many years. I say this. I don't know that I'm the sharpest tool in the shed. I've hung around a long time and I've listened, and it is the wrong perspective going into this. The broker owner doesn't want, or excuse me, the branch manager, the real estate agent. The real estate agent doesn't want to see your amazing sales skills and how you can interview them. They're watching you, and this is what you've captured. I'm not going into a sales opportunity. I'm going into an opportunity to demonstrate my leadership. I mean, are you recruiting or are you just leading them like they're your own agents already?
That's right. No, we're not recruiting. Recruiting is like a foreign word to us, and it's so funny because they come to all of our events. I got a text message yesterday. Our classes here at their company, they're so horrible. What do I do? I was like, just hang in there. You're doing a great job, and
So
keep doing what you're doing. It's never a point where we go, you need to come here. All the people that are here have asked us, can we come here? We really want to create this. I'm not telling you we don't have this vision to be a large company with a lot of agents.
Mm-hmm.
However, our vision is, I believe we will always be able to dominate our market with fewer agents than the other companies, because we're not going to be the company that goes, you have a license and you can breathe, come join us. We want to be the company that agents go, how am I able to be an agent with them? How am I able to work for that company? I mean, that's where it's going on. How do I get selected for them to have me on their team? That's the kind of, not in a I don't know if I'm saying this the right way, but I think that's attracting those people. It's just a different level. It's a different plane.
Well, and here's what you're. First of all, I want you to in Arizona in November, Mike Pruitt. He's down in Atlanta. I want you to connect with him. Parallel path to you. You guys, great mastermind exchange. He's an agent that has a team that closed. He did 700 transactions with his team.
Wow.
Brought in 60 agents on top of it in a similar time frame as you. So I think there's a lot of great exchange that you guys have there too in the way you guys are doing it. You guys are not recruiting. And it's because people can watch this and say, oh, yeah, everyone says they're attracting people. Listen, I work with thousands of brokers in my system. I know how people are doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is true. It's not some magical, posed interview we're doing here. It is the relevancy rule, because here's what they'll say all the time to me is, agents are so rude. We had a great interview and they don't return my call and they don't this. Well, listen, what'd you do in the interview? You tried to sell them for an hour. You were irrelevant because they were thinking about the listing that might expire, or their social media initiative, or their farming strategy, and you're talking about getting them to move. You're staying in the relevancy space of the agent. It's about the agent, and when they're ready, they'll join.
Yeah, look, nobody likes change. I can tell you what I don't do. We do not sit here and call agents all day long.
Beautiful.
So we do events where Maxwell Mastermind, someone might pay $300 or $400 to attend a Maxwell event, a Maxwell Mastermind at our office. We don't charge for them. It's part of our value proposition. Come be a part of it. Come learn. Come grow. We do a lot of stuff online so that they can participate. We have so many agents at other companies that participate in those events. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we just wait for their people to drop the ball and they go, you know what, I'm ready. I'm ready now to come over here. I want what your agents have. I want to be a part of what you're doing. And I feel like we're waiting for them to get to the point where they go, I've outgrown where I'm at. I can't, just like I did. And they go, I need someone to help bring me to the next level. And then we go, we're here. Come on, let us help you.
So let me restate the obvious. You are bringing people, the competitors' agents, into your environment, and we're being kind of facetious here. You're showing them everything they need to do to be productive and letting them go back to their environment and compete against your agents, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep. The only active recruitment I ever did this year was one of our competitors hired basically an ISA, inside sales associate, to call every one of our agents to make recruiting calls. What was interesting is they were using a script that I wrote because I used to work for them. And so I gave our agents a script back because, I said, well, I want you to know they didn't just call you. Although you're great and I love you and you do awesome, they called everybody. And so when they tell you this, here's how I want you to respond back. And then I personally called the ISA and I set a recruiting appointment with the ISA. And we're now we're still in about our third week of dialogue, but I just had them come in and meet with me. And I said, you're calling all of our agents. And I just thought you might want to meet with me and see if there could potentially be a greater opportunity for you with us than where you currently are. It's the only recruit call I've ever made. Was that one.
Oh, I love it. That is so beautiful. Well, and what's taking place then is you are taking the opportunity to demonstrate your leadership. You did it last night. I think last night did you guys have a call night going on last night, or and then I think you did a live stream also on some principles. Let's just, out of the blue, we can talk about, and we'll go to, the form and structure of the company, but even here I am right now, and on social media, I see it. Tell us about what your last night looked like. Here we are.
So, well, we had agents are fearful of the telephone. They're fearful to talk to people, even successful. They will do anything to avoid doing what they need to do. Anthony Robbins says one of the decisions that you need to make that will control your destiny is you need to decide what you're going to focus on. So if we can help an agent focus on income producing activities, and one of those is generating leads, so we have them come up in the evening time, we role play some scripts. I actually call real estate leads every once in a while, and I record those calls so that they can hear a call. And so I played some calls for them to listen to. We dissected them, broke them down. They practiced some stuff, and then they literally open their databases and start making calls. And one guy's doing really great on the phone, yet he feels like he's not. He freezes and he he has someone that says, you know, I never filled out anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't call me. And he just stops. And he let that affect him, and he was so good. And what else? Another thing that I think you really have to focus on is what you give meaning to, what you allow you know, what you give authority to speak into your life, or who you give authority to speak into your world. And so we had a conversation afterwards. I said, "You do so great on the phone," and he said, "Honestly, I feel like I did horrible. I don't know what to do when they say this." So if I can help him navigate through that, this was a new agent. I can help him navigate through that and help him go, you know what? I'm not going to give any meaning to that. Let me make the next call. Let me make the next call. Yes lives in the land of no. I'm going through my nose on the front end tonight. But tomorrow it might be you get 3 yeses, because he was sitting right behind somebody who set 3 appointments. And I'm going, guess what? Y'all are calling the same leads. You know, it's the same source of leads that you both are calling. So it's not that they're bad leads. It's just she's getting her yeses on the front end and you're getting your no's on the front end. So don't give meaning to that. To have those teaching moments, where I was looking for those coaching moments with them, and you know, and I'm the least scripted person. I think the more authentic you are, people want authenticity. So I think about things, and some things I stream, and people might go, "That's crazy," or you're rambling. But I'm a big believer in I think of something. And, you know, I think of our conversation where he was going, I don't have a lot of self-confidence. How do I increase my self-confidence in that area? What do I do? How do I grow as a person? That was a great moment for me, you know, where he came back this morning and said, "Man, just want to tell you thanks. Last night you really spoke into my life, and that was really powerful for me." So it might not just be in the real estate. I might have those opportunities with one of our agents that's in a totally different world. You know, I've had a husband and wife team sit down with me, and we're talking about how to grow their business. And before I know it, I'm sitting here going, "Guys, if you hit this goal and your marriage falls apart, is the goal worth it?"
So good.
And to be able to navigate and have a totally different life conversation that I didn't even see coming, you know. But because I've helped them in the past grow their business, I have that ability where they trust me enough. You know, it's kind of like this. We have the open arena. And the open arena says, "I know this about me, and you know this about me, because I trust you enough to let you know this about me." Then we move into the blind spots, and the blind spot says, "You know this about me, but I don't know it about me. Maybe I can lose my temper quick, and I don't even really realize I'm doing it, but you do." And if you come to me and you see that blind spot, you identify it, you say, "Hey, Jonathan, I just really want to make you aware of this. Well, I know that you have my very best interest at heart. I trust you. I trust you as a person, as a leader, as a coach, and it could be maybe I have a strength that I could sometimes overuse. Maybe sometimes my bluntness or dominance in a certain area could be a strength, and if I overuse it, it now becomes a weakness, and it's a blind spot of mine, and I'm not aware of it. But if you point it out, I'm going to listen, and I'm going to work to make those corrections, because I don't want to." I don't want to do something that would ultimately become a weakness to the point where it could be detrimental to our relationship or to my future success. So that was a moment where I'm listening to a conversation and I start to see some blind spots, and I'm able to really have real authentic conversations with people in their business and personal lives. And if I can move them to, you know, then we have our mask, and the mask areas are hidden lives. And that's where I know something about me, and I'm not letting you know about it because I don't trust you enough yet to let you in that world. If I can help move people to the potential, that's what I don't know and you don't know, and stay in the open where I trust you enough to share with you and you trust me enough to share with me, that allows us to move into that potential world. And we don't even know what we're capable of doing yet, because we haven't been there yet. It's called tomorrow. It's the future. So the goal is, how do we have the very best future tomorrow? How can we set ourselves up to do that? And it's to build this level of trust and authenticity with people that we're able to share. So I hear stories, or we're talking, we have conversations, and I try to go, what are some of the coaching points or teaching moments I can share? And Facebook video has been a great platform for me to just go live and share what's on my thought. I don't do it at a certain time because I don't want to have scripted out agenda, and I just want it to be real.
Well, I hope everyone captures that too, because I think leadership has that science and art,
Yeah.
and in creativity, it all falls back to what you're building this based on. Is it's all experiential. Yes, you're an organization that has the science and the systems, but it's all the foundation of the experience the human beings are having. I mean, that's the huge part. The things that really stand out to me in this is, and it's what I was taught. I mean, it's brilliant to listen to. It's like I'm sitting here listening to my mentor, and it's a term he shared with business intimacy, humility, vulnerability, transparency. No one, I don't care if there's a new technology in our industry that came out and everyone knows it was beta tested. And the top people in the world were able to test it, but then only one company got it, and it was your competitor. They still can't touch you because you're
No,
touching
yeah.
human beings, and that's what I just want people to capture. I mean, this is the proof is here in the numbers, and I know from my career that's where I went, and I know it's. Some of the people that won't work with me are, well, that's too kumbaya. No, it's called you're not in the real estate business. That's what you get, Jonathan.
Well, yeah, you're not in the real estate business at all. And it's, there's this great song I love, and it's, I think it's Tim McGraw that sings it, but it's called Always Be Humble and Kind. And in part of the song, it says, when you get where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next person in line. Always be humble and kind. And so I've kind of adopted that as my philosophy this year. There's no doubt. I don't, I'm very humble for what we have accomplished. I think we have incredible people who have helped us get where we are. It's not a Jonathan Dupree thing
Sure.
at all. Um, but on the flip side, I'm also very vocal. We want to dominate the market. And I think we can do that in a humble way. I think we can be good people. I always get hung up talking to people where they talk about success, or you hear them talk about wealthy people and the wealthy evil people and it's spiritual to be poor. Well, on business side, we're always talking about being number one. Well, if you're not talking about being number one, why are you in business? We're not in business to be number three. We're in business to be number one. And that's not a bad thing. It's not because we don't like who number one is. It's just because we want to win in business. And we want to do it the right way and have the right attitude, the right spirit. We want to do it where we change people's lives as a result of getting to number one. And that is what ultimately will get us to number one, is the fact that we are out there changing people's lives and impacting their lives. And that is a big reason why people want to be with us, because they know that. We cast a bigger vision. Who wants to work with someone who's not casting a big vision? You're not going to get far if you're like, well, what do you have to offer me? Where are you going? We're 490th in market share, but we're going to give you a 90-10 split. Well, that I don't want that. I want to be with someone who goes, help me get to where I want to go. Right. And I want to be with someone big who's playing on a big level. We want to always make sure we turn back around and help the next one in line. Our whole vision is in our company that we're developing leaders. And I've had a great agent, Kelly Wascom, came to one of your events. Kelly has transitioned into a leadership position now where she's no longer selling. We have several agents who
good for her
through the John Maxwell leadership training program, and we've created a mentor program, and we're creating a coaching program where we're giving those agents the opportunities now to step into leadership roles and really training them to do it. When they teach a class, they've been through not a class that we put together on how to teach a class, but they've been through with Maxwell on how to really be an instructor and how to teach and how to mentor people and coach them. And so now when they're teaching, we're developing their other skill sets that are going to help them move into, who knows what doors will open from those opportunities for them. So we want to help them to thrive. And I think that will create an atmosphere where they always want to be with us and they're loyal to us because they know at the end of the day, we truly do care about them. And everything we do is for our agents. As hokey as that might sound, that is how we really are.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I want to stay in this spot. Before we end our time, I will have you share the best ways for people to connect and follow you. But what I want to say to everyone right now is this is, and to you too, you have, because we shared, any of my clients, anyone I work with, I stalk them, for lack of better words. I watch the messaging, I feel the experience, across all the platforms. I mean, we connect over on Instagram, we'll connect, on Facebook. We're in Facebook Messenger. That's how we move. And I move away. What you've done, and what I want to suggest people to really watch and see, is you have taken the risk and said, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to be vocal. I am going to be strong. I know I'm leading with my heart. But and this is just and we didn't set this call up. This is impromptu. I know I'm leading with my heart, but I also know that I may come across a way that may not feel good. But you've got this. You have walked the tightrope masterful, and you're not perfect, and you're the first guy to say that, but you're walking this tightrope where you're doing the bottom up collegial collective genius experience. You ask for feedback, you get it, but at the same time you've got that strength of purpose going forward. And again, that's, we're talking, ladies and gentlemen, about a space, and Jonathan's sharing with you the true competitive advantage in any business that can't be touched. I mean, it can't be touched.
That's right. That's right.
Because you've got to go inside to do that work. I mean, for a leader to say, listen, I'm going to be vulnerable. No way. Everything that I've learned as leaders, I have to look good, sound good, play the part.
Yeah.
And the beauty too, Jonathan, is this is real top down. People got into real estate to not be in top down. They were tired of that. They want to be bottom up. And,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, conversations I'm having, people, okay, we need to do this and we need to do that. And I said, well, here's the first thing we need to do is a survey in your organization. And it goes like this: please start doing, please stop doing, please keep doing. Well, what's that for? Because I want to know what the experience feels like. It doesn't matter. I don't care about, well, don't you want to know about our split? I don't care about that. I don't need to know. I need to know how it feels.
Right.
And you know what? So many will get just, well, no, that's not the problem. Okie dokie. Call me when you have more pain.
Yeah. That's right.
You know?
It's absolutely right, man. It has served us well. And, it's, when we first launched, I had to be so cautious of anything I said, because anything I said was, heck, the whole way I connected with you to come speak at our event was because, think about this for a second, and I don't know, let me say this the right way. We had booked a speaker to come do our event. We clearly had a conversation on the front end to make sure they were okay coming to speak for us, because they worked for our previous company. And they were like, oh, no, I'm an independent contractor. I do my own thing. They can't tell me where I can speak and all that kind of stuff. And then the week before the event, they call and they say, hey, this has never happened in my 30-year career, but I received a phone call from our corporate office, and they said, I cannot come do your event. And I speak at multiple other real estate brokerages all the time. And they said, that's okay, but I specifically can't come do your event. And I said, okay. Well, he booked the same event for the same day in the same market through the other office, right? So I called him back and I said, man, I'm just trying to understand how you feel like this is okay, and he actually moved his event. He did. He was very nice, very respectful. We had a great conversation, and I said, I think you're really trying to sabotage our event. It's sad that that's happening. We called you, said, can you come in? It's in like 4 days. You said yes, and it was an unbelievable event, and it was a home run, and so we've been fighting huge battles with major companies who try to stop everything that we do, and everything. Think about what would make a huge company like that try to stop an event for this little bitty company here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Well, and
I had to be so cautious of what I would say, because no matter what I would say, they were going to use it some kind of way as misinformation or twisted or whatever. And so I've been very cautious, but I'm at the point now where I say, I'm going to be vocal in a positive way, not in a negative way, because I wish my previous company all the success in the world. I think there's plenty of business to go around. I'm not operating out of fear. I'm not operating from a place of scarcity or a place of lack. We're not even have the same models. It's a totally different model. So it's not. We're not even trying to track the same type of mentality of a person. But it's. So I've really, I don't say struggle, but I've really worked hard in trying to make sure I say the right things and do the right things. And then I just got to a point where I said, you know what? It's okay to be vocal and say, we're coming for the top spot. That's okay because y'all do it. So if y'all can do it, why can't I do it? It's okay to say this is our vision and this is where we're going. And it has, and honestly, us wanting to get to number one really has nothing to do with anyone else. It only has to do with us. That's it.
Well,
So,
and the critical piece that I chatted about there is on the front end of that. And again, we're in a business that, we look at transactions, we look at margins and all those types of things. But when you're leading from that space, but you're leading from your heart
yeah,
in serving your people. I mean, we're being out there and being a leader. Well, that's part of, leading from our heart, because something, I want the input of my people. I want them to have a fabulous experience, and you're living it. And that's probably been, it sounds like it's been a real good discovery process for you in the first year of doing this too.
absolutely. Absolutely, it has been. I've learned a lot of stuff. I've learned that you better have a plan for yourself because if you don't, you're going to fall into someone else's plans, and chances are they don't have much plan for you. That's a big. I discovered that people who you really think have your not your best interest, but like anytime you're going for something big. So if someone listening on this who's an agent or who's a broker or broker owner or manager, whatever role they're in, anytime you're moving towards something great, you're always going to have opposition. Always, it's always going to be there, and that's because it gets you're out of your comfort zone, and we don't like being out of our comfort zone, and so when you succeed at a high level, someone else is going, come back down here to my level because I don't want to. You're performing too good. You're doing too. I mean, I don't even know how to describe what I'm saying, but it's like you're always going to have people who don't want you to succeed, no matter what you're doing.
Well, and I
And it
think
goes back to that decision. What are you going to give meaning to? Who are you going to allow to speak into your world? And so I got to a point where I said, listen, I'm not going to give meaning to any of that stuff. People who I thought were great friends who all of a sudden now, because I'm at my company and not your company, we can't speak to each other. Or if we do, it meet secret and you can't tell. I mean, really? I'm 42 years old. You can't tell somebody that you're going to have coffee with me and have a conversation because we're friends. It's at a certain point, you just got to be okay with that. And go, I'm not going to give that stuff meaning. I know where I'm going, and if people aren't for me, that's okay because they aren't. That means they're just not for you in general. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody, and so you just have to know where you're going and be really clear on it. Have clarity to the pathway that you're going, and treat people right, and respect them, and love on them, and believe in them. And show them that you value them and that they mean a lot to you. And I think to do that, the right people stay with you.
Well, and I'm going to merge into. I'm going to make some assumptions here. We not only have chickens in common, we have mothers in common. And I'll share with everyone. I think there's a young lady in your company that closed about 8 million last month or
Last
something.
month, yeah.
Your mom.
Yeah. It wasn't real business though. It wasn't real.
Okay, so you've got her, and so I'm going to make some assumptions. Well, I have this mother that she was working 3 jobs when we were little boys, single parent, and she was the receptionist at a real estate office, and she looked up at the good old boys. They sold cocktail lounges and taverns. And
Yeah.
one day she looked up and said, I could outsell all of you. This is back in 1971. And they laughed at her. She makes her first cold call to a bar The guy blows her off, and he's confirmed the story to this day. Blows her off. She goes out to the bar, sits at the end of the bar, and guy comes over and, "Can I get you something to drink?" No. She says, "Are you the owner?" Yes. "Oh, well, I'm the lady you talked to on the phone and you were rude to." My mom made 25,000 back in 1970, I think, in her first 6 months in real estate. Owner contract. But here's the piece that comes full circle. I'm going to bet your mother said the same thing to you that mine said. "Son, the minute they stop talking about you, you need to take a look in the mirror because you might not be having an impact any longer."
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I know, I know we can't be complacent. I know what got us here, what we did yesterday is not going to help us tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We've constantly got to be adapting and flexible, and we also got to know they're always we always, I call it disrupting the market.
Yes.
Having people say stuff about you. If they're not talking about you, they're not fearful of you. And if they're not fearful of you, you've stopped disrupting the market.
Right.
And we are clearly disrupting the market, and we are letting them know, and they know that, and they're trying to figure out how to stop us, and we're going, it's really, number one, I didn't realize we were, it's real estate. It's not war, right? But if we're going to be disruptors, that's disrupt in a big way. I mean, let's really do this thing in a positive way. Though.
Sure.
Like when Ricky Bobby says, he can say whatever he says as long as he adds, "with all due respect," in the beginning of it. We don't want to be like that, but we want to be, Steve Jobs, I think, said you always have to have someone you're going after when you're building a company. Like, you always got to have the bigger person, the bigger company that you're set your sights on, not in a negative way, but as in a way of going, this is where we're pursuing. We got to be chasing something big. And if we're not chasing something big, what are we doing?
Sure.
So it has definitely been a real year. And
I'm ready to come down there and work for you guys, man. I mean, I'm just having a blast.
We're excited. We're excited about the future, and it's been great. And man, we love all our agents, and love you to death. I think you really impacted a lot of our people, and the systems and tools you helped us implement. Like, literally, we had our real recruiting system up. We didn't even have an office. There were 5 of us crammed into a room that was probably about the size of this little place I'm videoing in. It was like 8 by 8, and we only had 2 desks and 5 people in there. That was where we kind of operated. But we had a real recruiter site, man. You thought we were like, too big. She's like, "How many agents do you have?" I don't even know if you remember this conversation. It wasn't you, it was Tim. Tim called me, and he said, "How many agents do y'all have?" And I said, "Well, we don't have any yet. We just started like this week." But we're about to have some, and we need to be ready.
Well, and this is, I've just got to share this. Jonathan and I talk about the chickens and our moms being in the real estate business. Well, then I discovered a couple months after working with Jonathan, his past life. And Tim Merrill, who's my chief operating officer, had been with David Copperfield touring, and Christy was with Copperfield. And so then these guys, we've got this Facebook message going on. They're talking about all the mutual friends they have in Vegas.
Yeah. That's right. And he dogged me out because I sent him an email, and he said, "Your phone just said sent from my BlackBerry."
Did he really?
And I know. In his mind, he was thinking, this guy doesn't know anything about technology at all.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So, taking a look at the agents that you guys have brought in over the year, what would you say a ratio focus, if you were to look back at the number, what percentage are brand new in the business, and what percentage have been with some level of experience in the business?
I would probably say 20% are brand new.
Wow.
80% are experienced.
Wow. Wow. Well, let me share a couple of things here for, because we haven't had this conversation. You're just focused on your trajectory, and we haven't had to visit this. But for everyone else to know too, typically number one across the board in the industry, and I've tracked this number since 1995 forward, and fortunately, I hang around so I can gather numbers.
Yeah,
Typically an organization will see, an established organization is going to see about a 30% attrition rate. So
yeah,
you bring in 70, really you're going to have 50 at the end of the year. You're talking about an attrition rate that's next to nothing. and
yeah,
and so, ladies and gentlemen, all that we've talked about up to this point, I'm sharing with you 21 years of empirical data. Number two, here's the real kicker for you, and we haven't even had this conversation, but with everyone else that's listening. Startup organizations are typically at about a 40-45% attrition rate because there's so many hiccups, and they have good intentions,
right,
and yet things are going to happen along the way. I remember in Sacramento back in 2000, I had this accident happen. We walked over 50 agents, and we had them surrounding a fax machine on a floor in an executive suite. But just like with you, we were very upfront and said, "Hey, here's where we're going. Here's what we're committed to. Right along with us." So, a couple things to look at is everything that Jonathan's sharing is, certainly we have a competent leader that is on the cutting edge, but understands what matters, and the numbers are ahead of what is an industry standard for attrition, and then an industry standard for a startup. So, what before we, because certainly I value your time. We'll have to do this again.
let me show you one more little statistic I'm proud of too, because I'm very familiar with the numbers you just threw out. Um, Typically, if you have a brokerage that you can have 35% of your agents producing every month,
Mhm.
has been our experience has been good.
Sure.
And we're at about 62%
Wow.
of our agents produce every month.
Wow.
And that is what allows us to have 72 agents and be in third in market share. And the companies in front of us have 200. One of them's got 400 agents, and it's simply because the agents we're bringing on are producing. The new agents we're bringing on are people who are really making career changes, and they're going through a pretty deep interview process when we bring them through to make sure it's not just someone who wants to hang a license. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited. I'm proud of our associates for that too, because I think that's a phenomenal. It just means they're all producing and making money.
It's huge. We're having this conversation, Jonathan, a year from today. What does KDK look like?
So a year from today, we have a total of 4 offices. So our next office is in Livingston, which is a market near this market. We have a New Orleans office, and we have a North Shore Mandeville office, which is across the Big Lake if you've ever been to New Orleans. We are consistently teaching and training at a high level. We're number 1 in market share in the greater Baton Rouge market. We're not launching New Orleans until the fourth quarter of 2016, so market share there really won't go into play until 2017. Mm-hmm. But here in this market, we will absolutely, a year from now, have a conversation, and we're number 1 in market share. We will have been number 1 in market share for several months before that.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with, whether it's an established brokerage firm, a startup? Lay it on us before we wrap up our time.
I would say the last thing I'd say is when when I was leaving where I was, I used to tell people I was unfireable in the sense of I could have stayed there forever. And I outgrew where I was, and I was playing small. And no matter what, I'm not telling you to leave the company. What I'm saying is we all have fears. And I was, for a while, scared to leave. In my mind, I wanted to leave, but I was fearful. And you can look at fear as either forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. So whatever goal you're pursuing, my challenge would be to face it, and rise above it, and know the obstacles are there for everyone. It's not a new thing. And if the goal's big enough and the passion is strong enough, then the commitment will be there for you to overcome those obstacles and challenges. The highs will be higher than you thought, the lows will be lower than you thought. My very best friend, my right hand leader, a guy named Pat Guttery, came with us. He shut down his own company to come work for me at my previous company, and then he left there to come here with us, and really was an integral part of our company. And on family vacation, just dropped dead, just collapsed and died, and has 5 kids. And man, that was a big low for us. And so when you talk about the lows are lower than you think they're going to be, but then we've had a lot of great highs, and a lot of great things have happened that I know he'd be extremely proud of. You think that you think it's going to take this much to get where you're going, and reality is it takes this much to get where you're going. So overdo. Go big, go large, whatever you're doing, and overdo, because it's going to take more than you initially think in your mind that it's going to take. And then I'd say find some things that get you in your own world where you can be creative and relax. And for me, it's chickens and splitting wood and hanging out in my backyard. I love doing that. I get 6 to 8 eggs every single day. I brought them in. My wife's like, "Are you ever going to eat these things?" I said, "No, I work way too hard raising these chickens from little babies. I can't eat their eggs." Well, now I eat them all the time, and I love them. Only the whites. That's all I eat is egg white. But I eat the egg all the time. And I tell you, if you want to see, like, what's the guy talking about chickens? If you follow me on Instagram, I don't post lots of business stuff. Y'all all know I'm in real estate, so if you just want to, my goal in 2016 is to go make lots of friends. My Facebook page is Friends with Jonathan. So Facebook.com, Friends with Jonathan. Okay. My Instagram is Coach Dupree, and you can follow me there. I post tons and tons and tons of chicken pictures. So I'm hanging out with them, and it's just fun. It's a different world. So, but that's what I'd say, man. It's just go do it. Go large, go big, overcompensate, overdo. And when you get afraid, when you become fearful, know that's normal, and you're doing something right because you're getting out of your comfort zone.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I honor you. Honor the time. Appreciate it. And to be continued, my friend. Keep up the great work.
Awesome. Thanks, John. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks, brother.